So this is our annual Autism Awareness Walk. We've been doing this, I think, 6 years now. So bringing autism awareness to the local community. My brother, wife, Andrea, started this. They have 2 boys with autism, and we started participating in Charleston some years back. But she wanted to bring awareness closer to home. So our first year we did it in Sanford, and then we decided to bring it to Andrews for a bigger crowd. This is our 3rd year in Andrews, and it's been getting bigger and better every year.
Yes, and it is that time again for us to do the same thing we did last year. First of all, big up to everybody. Welcome to Andrews the Podcast. I want to start off by saying that if you are not registered to vote, go ahead and register to vote. Another part of that is you need to be registered to vote at least 30 days prior to any election that you plan to vote in. That's why I say do it now before any elections come around. I know some people in my listening audience got some elections coming around, but get people registered to vote. Don't wait until some politician comes to try to tell you what to do with your right. You know what I'm saying? Inform yourself and, be a part of that process. Again, I want to welcome everybody in tonight. We're going to be talking with the founder of, I always forget to get the name of the official name of the foundation, but we're going to be talking tonight with Ms. Andrea Neesmith she's from Andrews, South Carolina, and she's been putting on an annual autism walk. This year, the theme is Rockin with Autism. And again, this is going to take place April 12th at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Andrews Recreation Center there in Andrews, South Carolina. So tonight, I'm going to bring her up here very shortly, but we're going to talk about the event, of course. And let me get this up on the screen here. Right there, Rockin' with Autism, Saturday, April 12th, 2025, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Rockin' with Autism. Again, there'll be games, fun, definitely resources are going to be up there. And, with different agencies, there's always a great turnout for the different agencies that provide different services. So it's a great, not only is it a great time to for people to come together, but it's also a great place to become aware of things. Again, if you're a new parent coming into the world of autism, this is definitely something you want to put on your calendar. April 12th, 2025 at the Andrews Rec Field. Okay, and that address is at 220 South Cedar Street, Andrews, South Carolina. You would think I would know that, being that I went to high school there, but I didn't need to know the address. I just needed to know how to get there. And I definitely know where the cafeteria was. So again, guys, if you have any questions, put the questions in and put your questions in. And if Miss Andrea is in the middle of a thought or something, I'm going to get to your question, but I don't want her, interrupt her. You may ask a question and we kind of talking about something else, but we'll get all that in. So again, guys, I want you all to welcome to the stage again this year, Miss Andrea Neesmith. Hello, how are you? And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you once again for having us on again this year. And thank you for always coming out to support our event and assist in spreading awareness.
Hey, y'all got good food out there, so you got me.
We're definitely going to feed you.
Not hard to please, but it is a remarkable thing that you do. And this year you're going to be moving over to the rec. So, we're expecting a big turnout this year, of course. Kind of so I got to always remember when I'm talking to people that I know that I got an audience that's coming in that don't know you. Okay. So again, guys, this is Miss Andrea Neesmith. And Ms. Neesmith, tell us about your organization and why you started this walk.
Okay, so I am a parent of two boys with autism. I also have two nephews with autism, and we've, recently learned that there are also other relatives with autism. But I started this walk, and I actually started working with individuals with autism before I even had children. With autism, working with children with autism and just children with special needs has always been a passion of mine. I have a sister who was born with Down syndrome, and so since childhood all the way up into adulthood, it's been a passion of mine working with individuals with disabilities. So once my boys were born, and we received the autism diagnosis. Of course, like I said, I was already doing the work, but I came even more passionate about it. It was difficult for me navigating through resources and dealing with some of the challenges as a person who was familiar. So I could only imagine how much more difficult it is and was for parents who are not familiar with it at all, who may have just, heard something about autism, but not really know exactly what it is or where to go, how to find resources. So that's what made me really want to bring this event down. Well, and I started, doing the walk in Charleston, looking for resources here in Charleston. And then nephews were born, I was assisting my brother and sister-in-law with trying to find resources down home, Andrews, Georgetown community. And as difficult as it was finding resources in Charleston, it was 10 times more difficult looking for resources in the Georgetown County area. So that's what made me really want to bring it down to Georgetown, to the Georgetown County community. And of course, I'm from Andrews. Like Ms. Cherie stated in the video, it started out in Sandpit because we started out just really small, just, families. But the more we put on the walk, the more people reached out, the more we found out that, friends, other relatives, people in the community were also dealing with a lot of the same challenges that I was dealing with, that my brother and sister-in-law was dealing with. And that made me want to do more down in the Georgetown community. So that's why we started having the annual walk to allow families of kids with not just autism, but other disabilities, kids and adults as well, to come out, where you kind of have a one-stop shop with, various resources that you can actually speak to on site. There may be resources there that people are not familiar with, or they didn't know serve their community. So that's the main purpose of doing the walk. And honestly, it just started out as I started out just a passionate parent. This year, we are officially named the Art Foundation. So we're just really establishing this year, although we've been doing the work. It's just kind of getting off of the ground this year. So hopefully over the remainder of this year and next year, we'll be more visible in the Georgetown County area and able to provide more resources to parents, because it's difficult trying to navigate and find resources for children.
So what are some of the misconceptions that you hear surrounding autism? From, again, a parent like yourself that finds himself in an area that doesn't have a lot of resources right at hand. What are some of the misconceptions that you run across?
So some of the misconceptions that I hear and run across frequently, number one is that when people hear of autism, they automatically think of a certain way that a child or, a kid is supposed to behave and act a certain way. So I would say that's the number one misconception. But as most people know, autism is a spectrum disorder. And what that means is children have various areas of various disabilities. So if you see one child with autism, I always say you've only seen one child with autism, because although they have a lot of similarities, which kind of fits into that umbrella to meet criteria for the diagnosis, there's also various differences. So you may have kids with autism who may not be able to speak or have difficulty communicating, but then you may have children with autism who, speak very fluently. So with autism, there's just, various areas where kids may thrive in one area and may not thrive in another area. So I think that's one of the main misconception. Another thing I would say is, I know in our community, and I dealt with this a lot when my boys were younger, is, they feel like it's just a behavioral issue. And autism, it's not a behavioral issue. Children with autism typically cannot help the way they're acting or if they're having a meltdown. And I always say there's a difference between a tantrum and a meltdown. Kids with autism have a lot of sensory issues. So things that may affect me and may not affect me and you may affect a child with autism. And they could be something as simple as lighting or certain noises. Some children with autism can't handle loud noises. They can't handle larger crowds. So it's various sensory issues that may cause them to have a meltdown. And for just an onlooker, it may look like a tantrum. The kid's just acting out. You need to punish this child or redirect this child. But children with autism, you can't easily direct them. And if you try to redirect them in the incorrect way, it's going to make the behavior worse. So that's another misconception that I see a lot in the community.
And because it's not all bad. So talk to us about some of the blessings, because I just, for me, talking to you from year to year, your knowledge in this has become more. You feel what I'm saying? You've embraced this thing. So talk to us about some of the blessings that come along with raising a child with autism.
And like you said, I've embraced it. That in itself has been a blessing. I have 3 children. I have a daughter outside of my 2 boys. And I count them, I absolutely count them a blessing. It's been a blessing to me just helping some of the other families navigate through some of the challenges that I've been dealing with, that my brother and my sister-in-law have dealt with. That in itself is a blessing, as well as children with autism. They usually have some, I call it a superpower. So there's always some type of stronger ability that, they may have a strength in. And for me, my boys, they're in editing, they're into art, and that have connected us with various communities. So I also say that, having children with autism, it would absolutely give you patience. And I know there's a saying that many people use, is that, God blesses the strongest parents with, children with special needs. And, you can believe it or don't believe it, but it absolutely makes you a stronger parent. It gives you patience and understanding and compassion for others, for sure.
No doubt, guys. We are here with Miss Andrea Neesmith again. April 12th. Y'all make sure you go ahead and add this onto your calendar. We're just getting into this conversation. Don't be like, well, I know he ain't finished talking about it. No, I just want to keep you guys abreast of what's going on so you can put it on your calendar. So how do you, and that's something that, how do you balance, your role now as an advocate and as a parent? How does it, because you said, a part of your blessing is the biggest blessing is to be able to help others. So how do you balance that?
I will say that sometimes it is a juggling act with, balancing all of their needs and therapies, appointments, as well as a 9 to 5, as well as, responding to other parents when they reach out for support. But I will tell every parent that you have to absolutely be your kid's number one advocate. If nobody else is advocating for your child, you need to advocate for your child. That is the most important thing to me. So although it's a juggling act and I need to keep everything else going, when it comes to their needs and advocating for them, that is number one in my book. But I will also say that you absolutely have to find balance because, having children with autism day in and day out, it's something different. Most days, and I'm just speaking for me and my children, most days can be challenging, but you have to find balance. Most kids with autism do well with structure, so we try to keep a very structured routine here in my household, and it helps a lot. But even there's still daily challenges. But I think self-care, and I know we talk about respite a lot, so making sure that you're surrounding yourself with a support system that can kind of assist you when needed. So if you need a break, hopefully you have someone, whether it's a grandparent or a fictive kin, someone that you can rely on to give yourself that break. So that self-care is very, very important, because you can and you will burn out if you don't have that self-care to balance it all out.
What did you find to be the most helpful resource to you? Like when you again, I know you said you started in Charleston, and then when you came home looking around, it was just like, but what was that? What was the resource that kind of turned the light on for you?
I would say the resource that probably was most helpful, and it's not even an agency, I would say, because I mean, there's a lot of agencies that help. But for me, just connecting with other parents, especially parents who had already kind of faced the same challenges that I faced, that to me was the number one thing. Like that helped me more than some of the other resources, although they're very helpful. It helped me more than some of the agencies that I've worked with through the years. I think just having someone to talk to, a parent is seeing it from parents' point of view. So, we're not talking to each other as a therapist or, as a community resource. Like
it could get real.
Right. It gets real. And so, we're telling you like it is, for lack of better words. But I would say that's been the number one resource. Now, outside of just connecting with parents and, having their support and providing support to them, I would say for me, early intervention is the number one thing. So for parents who are just starting out, I preach early intervention. Get them in as many services as possible, whatever is being recommended. Put your children in those services if you're able to put them in those services. Because I have two boys. One of my sons was definitely more severe than the other when they were diagnosed years ago. But the early intervention services made a huge difference in, their trajectory. We had 40 hours of services, 40 hour a week of services at one point. So that's a work week, but you do what you have to do to make sure your children, you set them up to be successful. So I would say the early intervention services would be my next recommendation. Is, the best thing that you can do for your kid.
Which leads into the next question is, what roles does the school play in a child with autism? And having dealt with your children with autism in the school system, what are some of the things that you would like to see improve?
So I would say the school played a huge role in dealing with children with autism, because sometimes parents are in denial and sometimes they just don't know what's actually going on with their children. So you have some children who are in school in kindergarten, first, second grade, and they don't have a diagnosis yet. However, for a lot of kids who are in school and parents are either in denial about the disability, or they're just, they just don't know. They're not sure what's going on with their kid. A lot of times teachers, counselors, therapists in the school, they could identify those deficits that those children have, especially like when they're kindergarten, first grade, and we see that they're not making the progress that their same age peers are making. So the schools a lot of times could identify those deficits and make proper referrals either to the school psychologists or, outside providers that the parents could take the children to for testing or for assessments. their services in the schools that, most children with autism qualify for. There's, they offer speech services, they offer physical therapy, they offer occupational therapy, and they also now offer, it's not the intense ABA or applied behavioral therapy that you may see outside of the school, but they do offer a portion of, ABA that you see outside of school. So the school is very important. And I've seen it where schools have, given pushback to parents and not really providing services that a student really need. And again, I say to parents, make sure that you advocate. And if you can't advocate,
I was going to say that that's to your point. You got to be the number one advocate for your child.
Be the number one advocate. And if you cannot advocate on your own, there are agencies who can come in and assist you with advocating. But on the flip side, I've also seen where, parents are, and I can't say they're, in denial, but they don't want to label their kids. So sometimes the school is trying to say, hey, your kid needs, assistance.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was wondering, is it a situation? Are there situations, and you just answered that, where a parent is like, no, he's going to grow out of that, or she's going to grow out of that, and that again, that's that delayed intervention where when it's identified, you should be jumping on it. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, though.
Yes, absolutely. So I do see both sides of it. And, it's unfortunate when you have professionals telling you that, your kid needs this or this, service will assist your kid in, being even better in school, but parents are just not taking advantage of those services. But when it comes to school, I always say my kids' school, they don't like to see me coming, because I am going to be there. I'm going to advocate for them. If I feel like something's not being addressed in their IEP or their outline plan, I am calling a meeting so that, we could address the issue. I never have just one IEP meeting a year. I have multiple meetings to make sure that what's outlined in their plan is actually being upheld, and that the teachers, that everyone who's involved is making sure that they're following through and to make sure they reach the goals that's on their IEP.
Because a thought just occurred to me, because again, being an advocate for your child, because a child may not be able to express to you, that they're not getting all of the service. So, they don't even know the service they're supposed to get, first of all. So you have to be front and center in a part of this process. You know what I mean?
You absolutely do. And I will say that with the IEP, and that's an individualized education plan, for those who don't know, for children who may have some disability and they require assistance in the school setting. I will say that a lot of parents that I run into, they don't fully understand the IEP, and some of them don't understand their rights and what they're able to do and what they're not able to do when it comes to that in the school system. And outside of the IEP, there's also something called a 504 plan that students with various disabilities can take advantage of as well. And again, if you don't know, do the research or find someone who can assist you to make sure that your students are getting what they need. And I know the second part of your question was what I would like to see change in the school. Right. That is something I would like to see change. I would like to see maybe more parent advocates in the school because a lot of parents don't know their rights and what they can and can't do. And I think if there's a parent advocate at every meeting, certainly your student is going to be successful, because you'll have someone there to make sure that the services are being provided. Even if you as the parent don't understand and know, you'll have someone there with you who's knowledgeable, about the process and what's needed.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about this year's walk. tell everybody what they can expect. Oh, that's not the right flyer. That's a boots on the ground flyer. But all right, here we go. Again, April 5th. Excuse me, where am I at right now? April 12th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Rockin with Autism annual walk. Tell people what they can expect at this event.
All right, so this year, as always, we're wanting everyone to come out. Of course, we're going to have fun activities for the kids, and hopefully some fun activities for teens and young adults as well. We will have resources on hand that's in the Georgetown area and local surrounding areas. So, we want the families to be able to come out in support of your child or your grandchild or niece or nephew with autism. We will have giveaways for families of children with autism, as well as just community members. This year, just, speaking of education, we actually have Dr. Green, who's going to be coming out. She'll be one of our speakers for this year. She is the director of the special education department with Georgetown County School District. So she will be out with her team. So if you have particular questions for something in school, they may be able to answer, or follow up, schedule a meeting or something with you. So she will be out. We also have other vendors. We have disability and special needs coming out. We have Busy Bee outside of Mount Pleasant. They just got approval for the specialized autism awareness license plate. We also have BabyNet, which I mentioned, the early intervention services. They will be out this year, as well as additional resources. So hopefully you will come out, learn something new, learn about resources in the local community, and enjoy yourselves.
And they got good food, y'all. They always have good food out there. Good food. It's a good community event. I look forward to it. I've been to the last two since 2003, 2024. No, 2023, 2024, and God willing, I'll be at the one here this year, here 2025. How has the walk, just from your, from observing, how has the walk impacted the community and raised the awareness since you started it from its initial start in Sanford to where it is now?
I would say it has grown tremendously since we started in Sanford. Like I mentioned, starting out in Sanford, it was just, a community gathering where we wanted to, and I say community, really it was like a family gathering where we wanted to, share information and bring out just a few resources. But it has grown, like each year has grown larger. So that's why this year we're moving over to the recreation field, because we're anticipating an even larger crowd this year with additional vendors. I think its impact on the community has been great. This year, I'm usually like reaching out to everyone, trying to get vendors, resources to come out. But this year I've actually had folks, reaching out to me. So people, they want to help. They want to be a part of it. I'm meeting more families with children who have children who are newly diagnosed each year. There's people who's, sharing my information. So it's my hope that, families are really, getting something out of it each year, that they're learning about additional resources. They are making connections, not just with community resources, but also with each other. And I would like to mention, because I'm not down in the Georgetown, Williamsburg area, but there are definitely people on the ground doing work down there. In Georgetown, there is a Georgetown Community Support Group. They have a Facebook page, and I think they just recently restarted their monthly meetings. And I've met with parents who said that group has been very impactful to them. And then in Williamsburg County, there's also a support group, I want to say it's called God's Healing Children, or Healing All God's Children. And they do a lot of work down in the Williamsburg, King Street area. And I know the Williamsburg group will be a vendor. There will be a resource that's out at the walk, and we're hoping, I know at least Miss Tanya Goodson will be there from the Georgetown community support group, from that parent group, and we're hoping that Miss Melanie Steck will be with us as well.
No doubt, guys. It is. I'm excited about this. This has been a great conversation. This has been you're packed with a lot of information, and that is awesome. How can people who want to get involved if in any way? What way can they get in contact with you and your organization to help out?
So
like if they want to donate or anything like that.
Anyone who would like to get involved or donate, and I always tell folks, like, we were not just asking for money, but we want any type of donation. If you want to donate gift cards so that we can give away to families, or you want to donate food or drinks or anything, we're accepting all type of donations. But you can reach out to me or any member of my team. I am on Facebook, just Andrea Cooper Neesmith. I'll share my number. My number is 843-344-8859. So anyone who wants to be involved or donate, please just reach out to me or anyone from the team, and we will be happy to assist you, accept your donations. And we definitely appreciate all the support for everyone who has donated thus far. And thank you again, Mr. Richardson, for all your support throughout the years.
It's all good. Shout out your team. You know what I mean? Shout out your team. I know you're the face of the organization, but it's that team. You got some loyal folks that's been working with you from day one. So go ahead and let me say it for her. If she missed you, she didn't mean to.
Take it for love. Take it for love. Yes, my team is, it's mainly my family. So my sisters, Latoya Cooper, Arnisha Cooper, Cherie Brunson, my husband, Tron Neesmith, my brother, Randy Cooper Jr., my mom, Leah Cooper, my sister-in-law, Jessica Gathers, my brother-in-law, Tim, a lot of my family, assist us with this event, but that is the core team that's on the ground doing the running around, making sure that everything comes together. But thank you to my team and everyone who assists us, not just this year, but every year, with making sure that this event is a success.
No doubt. And before we get out of here, let me ask you if you would, please, what advice would you give to parents that's newly coming into the world of autism on navigating this? First thing, I'm going to go ahead and give you some advice. Go ahead and show up on August 12th. Where am I at on April 12th?
April 12th.
April 12th. Okay. Start here. Okay. Because there's going to be resources here. You see Miss Andrea on the screen here, and she is an approachable person, so you can walk up to her and say, and she's gonna be busy, you know what I mean. But I'm sure she'll give you, if you're a new parent navigating through this, what is some advice you would give a new family, new parents that's dealing with coming into the world of autism?
So the advice I would give is, don't be afraid to ask questions. If there are things that you don't fully understand, do your research. Definitely, as I mentioned, the early intervention services. So if something is being recommended for your child, 9 times out of 10, your child truly needs it and it will benefit your child. So definitely get them involved in all the early intervention services that you can. Also, I would say, try to find a support group. And it doesn't have to be, an official support group, but just your village, your resources that you have within your family or within your friend circle or at your church. Make sure that you find people that you can lean on, because it does get hard, specifically in the beginning, like when you're just finding out. Some through, that denial, people go through depression. It's almost like grief, like you go through, the different stages once you find out that your kid have that diagnosis. But you do have to at some point get up, start advocating for your kid, making sure that they receive services that they need so that they can be successful in the long run.
No doubt, guys. And there she is, Miss Andrea Neesmith. I appreciate you. Let's see how much time we got here before. I definitely need to do this again. I want to get you back on before, because again, we could talk autism forever.
Absolutely.
So, but I appreciate you. I look forward to the event. Anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know. And if you got any last words, I'm gonna say goodnight to you.
All right. Good night. We'll see you all April 12th. And thank you again, Mr. Richardson.
No doubt. All right, guys, there it is right there. Good show, good information. What you can do is to help is to hit that share button, share this message out, share this with a family member, share this with a friend, and help make this thing a even bigger success. Okay. Rocking with Autism, April 12th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Andrews Recreation Center, which is 220 is that South? Yep, South Cedar Avenue. Again, I went to high school there. You think I would know, but I don't. But at the Andrews Rec in town there. Again, reach out, go back, look up, get Miss Andrea's number. Reach out to her if you want to be a part of this great event. And with that, I'm about to get out of here again. Remember, register to vote. Don't wait until some politician comes and try to force you to vote, because you wouldn't know what you're voting for or what you're voting about. Okay, so exercise your right as a citizen. Get aware, and I appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me. If you would hit that like button on your way out. We're not charging tonight for the likes. Okay, and if you got something in your neighborhood that you want to promote, man, get at me. The platform is open. Peace.